Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our Spring Ohigan Service. What a perfect time to have Ohigan Service. Beautiful day outside. And another thing, we have a very special guest speaker today, Reverend Endo. Reverend Fujimoto will introduce him later. Okay. We'll begin our morning service with the reading of the Gyo Gyokumon, following by the Sambu Jo on page 24 and 25.
Join me in Gassho. Today, on this occasion of the Spring Ohigan Service for 2024, members of our temple families have reverently come before Alameda Buddha. With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Alameda, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Kia Butsu, Namo Kia Ho, Namo Kia So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Sangujo.
Now we will have sutra chanting, Sambutsuge on page 79. Page 79.
Oge
三昧智恵意徳無量修正ける人体宣言小仏の会愚人金の空母大会無量力の生存用民のしし人徳無量空軍法大知恵人用公明一層神道大戦願が作在所可動生じ未不下脱不正常意海人生じ妙世三昧智恵理上造世徳仏無行志願一切福一切大願下心福百千の不満無量大小修行法者空量一切死と小仏無量無量現象不可微妙法者小仏世界無不可下無修節度公明師匠遠視小国行善精進一人難行両が三仏国土大一五種奇妙道場小説国女内容二部道祖加藤愛民道断立祭実法来生心熱症状意図学校経楽安穏好物神妙世界心象大津願の日力少少量実法生存知恵無限超量子孫知が信用軽量心死食六十家業精進因受不敬
Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Please stand for Gatha, We Are One, in the White Book, on page 150, and remain standing for the reading of the Zhou Xin Shu Creed 1 on page 12 in the Purple Book.
Switch books to the Purple Book, page 12. Jodo Shinshu Creed number 1. Entrusting the vow of the Buddha and reciting the sacred name, I shall proceed through the journey of life with strength and joy. All together now. Revering the light of the Buddha, reflecting upon my imperfect self, I shall strive to live a life of gratitude, following the teachings of the Buddha, discerning the right path. I shall spread the true Dharma, rejoicing in the compassion of the Buddha, respecting and aiding one another. I shall do my best to work towards the welfare of society. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Please be seated.
Reverend Fujimoto will now introduce our guest speaker.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Ohayo gozaimasu. It's always very special to have our annual Spring Ohigan Service, and the weather is particularly participating today. So a very nice day outside, and for today we're very fortunate to have Reverend Michael Endo here as our guest speaker. Reverend Michael's a part of the Buddhist Church of Oakland, and I grew up over there being an Oakland member, and so we've been able to know each other for a long time, and Michael's been part of the Bay District, and pretty much everyone here knows Michael. He has grown into his position at the Oakland Temple, and not only in assisting the minister, but working very closely with the bishops that we have had, serving the Buddhist Churches of America, and in acting as assistant to the bishop, he's been called upon often, regularly, to assist to communicate with the Honganji staff, and so through that he has grown into his position to be able to be very comfortable to go back and forth between Japan and America, between BCA and Honganji, and to develop these relationships. And so all the more, we're very fortunate to have someone of Michael's caliber in our Bay District, and not only in the Bay District, our neighbor. So special to have Michael here, and to be comfortable, to have someone who has done so many things with and for BCA, and every couple of years we can just call him and say, "Hey Michael, you want to come to service and speak with us?" Sure. And it's all very amiable, and he's been able to visit a lot of our temples and come to speak, and it's just a special occasion, and particularly for us, it's very easy to come over. I remember when I first began to serve at Oakland, being accustomed to other temples, Idaho, Oregon in particular, the next closest temple is Portland, that's 300 miles away. And so I had to go to meet Reverend Bridge, and I jumped on the freeway, and it's like the first exit. It's too easy, right? Even to meet with the bishop. It used to be like a weekend trip to meet with the bishop. Now, just a couple minutes and I'm there. And so it's so simple to be part of the Bay District. We're close to IBS and the Jodo Shinshu Center and all of this, and everything becomes closer and closer, very tight-knit. So all the more very fortunate to have Michael here for this Ohigan service. So I'm looking forward to enjoying Michael's talk. So please welcome Reverend Michael Endo.
Morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Fujimo Sensei, for the introduction and for the invitation to be part of your Spring Ohigan service this morning. If you could just please join me in Gassho. On reaching the land of the vow, we immediately realize supreme nirvana, and thereupon we awaken great compassion. All this is called Amida's directing of virtue. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Again, good morning. Good to see all of you here on this beautiful, as Sensei said, Spring Ohigan service day. As I arrived at the church, Jane Naito's outside, and I normally come to the front door of your chapel, of your temple here to come into the Hondo. Oh, you gotta come to the hall. You gotta see all the stuff we have for our fleet, our sale next week. So anyway, it was amazing to see how much stuff you folks have collected for your event next weekend. But I noticed a lot of wonderful treasures in the hall. And I already picked out some items, so I will be supporting your fundraising effort for next week. It's nice to be here on this occasion of your Spring Ohigan service. I don't know about you, but Spring Ohigan time, I in particular love what happened last weekend. You know what happened last weekend? I think you all know what happened. We move our clocks forward, right? We so-called lose an hour in spring, right? some of us, a lot of people look at it as having lost an hour of sleep, right? And it's true, we do, right? But I look at more as the time that we're able to gain more daylight time, right? To spend time outside, and to enjoy and to relax, and enjoy the warmth of the sun and the season, just to enjoy the season. Now I'm able to leave work, whenever, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it's still light outside, right? So I'm able to enjoy a little more daylight time after work, and to just enjoy this whole season of spring. I noticed our chairman didn't go into an explanation of Ohigan. I usually go to services at other temples, and if it's the major service, they'll go into an explanation of what the service is, and a little bit of background to it. But so I'll ask the question. Do all of you know what Ohigan is, in essence? I realize Ohigan it is a very special Buddhist observance, which reminds us to change our clocks twice a year. I'm just kidding about that. Actually, Ohigan, the observance of Ohigan is very unique to Japan. If you go to some other countries, they don't really observe this idea of Ohigan. So it's a Japanese Buddhist tradition, and it generally occurs around March 20th and around September 20th. So right at the times of the equinox, when winter turns to spring and when summer is turning into fall. Right? And the thought behind it was, at time of Ohigan, these 2 times throughout the year, this was considered the ideal time to set aside some time to listen and to contemplate on the Buddha's teachings. So when we think about Spring Ohigan today, I mean today's weather, this whole weekend's weather has just been really beautiful. We can see the transition going from winter to spring, and so I think this is where this idea of turning our thoughts to the teachings of the Buddha, to the Nembutsu, to Shinran Shonin's teachings, came about. We can see the importance and the idea of Ohigan, and the time to listen to the Buddha's words. But more importantly, I think it is a time to reflect on our world, this world that we live in today, here and now. We often think the word Ohigan refers to other shore. That's the translation of Higan, other shore. That's in comparison to our world. The world of the Pure Land is the other shore, the Pure Land that we often talk about, Ojodo. Our shore, this world, the Saha world that we're living in, is referred to as Shigan. And so at time of Ohigan, we think about Buddha's Pure Land, the Buddha's teachings, and what it is we aspire to find at the end of our lives. So I often think about Ohigan time. We think about Higan, the other shore, this world of the Pure Land in what is often referred to as in the Western world, right? So I often think, okay, if I go across the Golden Gate Bridge and go up to the highlands on the other side of the bridge and look out toward the west, will I be able to see the Pure Land? Right? You're at probably the highest point anywhere, right? To look directly across the Pacific Ocean toward the west. But I don't think, well, I've tried it. I don't see the Pure Land. Of course, I don't know what the Pure Land looks like itself, but so here's another example. We could go up to the highlands and look to the west and, do I see the Pure Land? Is there a way to get to the Pure Land? Is there directions? I know Sensei mentioned there'll be some Dharma School kids here today, so good morning. Thanks for coming out. But, so you all know where Disneyland is? Yeah. Right? Disneyland is located at 1313 South Disneyland Drive in Anaheim, California, right? 92802. And so to go to Disneyland from here in the Bay Area, we take 580 East. Well, this is one route you can get to Disneyland. You take 580 east, the freeway, to I-5 south to Los Angeles, right? Drive for around 370 miles, exit Ball Drive, right? And pretty soon after that, you arrive at Disneyland. And so when we go to Disneyland, who do we see? Who do you see? Or who do you want to see when you go to Disneyland? Where's the first Mickey Mouse? Okay, great. All right, Mickey Mouse, okay. We go to Disneyland, right? You see Snow White, we see the Seven Dwarfs, Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, a bunch of other favorite characters we may have that we've grown up with. And then, of course, you know, I haven't been to Disneyland in, I don't know, 30 years? But anyway, but that I recall, if you go to Disneyland, you have the rides too, right? So I know I'm going to sound old when I say these rides. But you have the Matterhorn, right? You have the Pirates of the Caribbean, you have Space Mountain. Space Mountain still there?
Yeah.
It's okay. Pirates of the Caribbean, Thunder Mountain, right? What else is there? Let's see. There's a bunch of other theme parks within the complex of Disneyland nowadays, right? California Adventure. I think that's kind of old too, huh? But anyway, I forgot what all of the rides and attractions were. But in our minds, what I'm trying to get to is we know where Disneyland is. We know what's in Disneyland, what to expect when we go there, right? So I think about it. So where is the Pure Land? This Ojodo that we often refer to in our teachings. When I think of the Pure Land, one of the first thoughts that comes to mind is the image that we're given, the description that we're given in one of the important sutras that we follow as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, and that is the Amida Sutra. I think maybe Sensei may recite Amida Sutra maybe at your Shotsuki Hoyo or some memorial services. But in the Amida Sutra, it goes into deep explanation of what the Pure Land is, images of the Pure Land. And it's a place where trees are covered with beautiful jewels, where beautiful music can be heard, and beautiful birds can be seen flying around and singing, and the wonderful fragrances that can be smelled throughout. Another place where we can get an idea of what this idea of the Pure Land is, this Western world is here in our Jodo Shinshu temple altars, Onaijin. And I think for us, this is probably one of the most concrete or tangible images of the Pure Land that we can immediately see, right? So we have here, Buddhist Temple of Alameda, you have your beautiful, beautiful Onaijin, right? And the traditional Jodo Shinshu Naijin, like we see here at your temple, it's not in this form, this beauty. It wasn't created this way just because of the fact that your founders of Buddhist Temple of Alameda had lots of money and they said, "Wow, let's just put gold leaf all over the place. You know, let's spend this money and make this place a beautiful place." Rather, our onaijins of our Jodo Shinshu temples are designed, created, made this way in order to remind us of the glory of the Pure Land, the Buddha's land, with the lights and the flowers, the gold and silver leaf, and the beautiful flowers and birds and heavenly beings that you see throughout your altar. I think it was your anniversary that Taniguchi Sensei went to the effort to create your beautiful ceiling tiles with all these flowers. Have everybody's seen, I know the members here, maybe there's first-time visitors. If you haven't, please come forward and look up at the ceiling tiles in the altar. And there you'll see many of the beautiful flowers that also help to remind us of the beauty and the glory of the Pure Land. And then there's another place that reminds me, actually a couple of places that reminds me of the Pure Land. And it's not your ordinary places you would think of when we think about the Buddha's Pure Land, this Western world. Back in 1995, my father passed away, and he was the organist of the church at the Buddhist Church of Oakland for, at the time he passed away, probably over 40, 50 years, playing every Sunday. And so, as I look back growing up at the church, and all of the time that he spent at the organ, I now realize that he wasn't just the organist of the church, but he did all this for all those years, every Sunday, for our Sunday services, for funerals, memorial services. Dad was always called upon to play the organ, but he really did this because of his joy of playing and the joy of music and the joy of just being in the temple, right? And so, his music was an integral part of our Sunday services, and of course of our funerals and weddings and other memorial services. And so, if the church needed an organist, they just called Dad, and Dad would be down there, right? But in 1989, he suffered a stroke, and over the years until the time he passed away in 1995, he had little strokes here and there, but he was able to gain his strength back, and he was back at church playing the organ again. At times, at that point, he needed to be driven down to church, so I would take him down. But seeing how difficult things were getting for him, I often asked him, "Do you really want to go down to church to play? I mean, isn't it kind of hard?" "No, we gotta go. I gotta go to church. Play the organ." So, we took him back, and he really enjoyed it. But as the years passed, as I mentioned, you could see that time was taking its toll on his health, and he was having these little strokes, minor strokes along the way. But so in 1995, Dad passed away, and so it wasn't only a void, of course, for our family, our immediate family, but I think it was a void for the church temple family as well, having lost its organist of the last 40, 50 years. But as I recall these memories of Dad playing the organ at church, now, whenever I enter the hondo of the Buddhist Church of Oakland, my temple, and when I look at the organ, which is, when you enter, it's at the far left corner of the chapel, I'm reminded of my father and all of the years that he spent sitting at that organ. And so now, when I look at the organ itself, when I enter the hondo, that area of the hondo reminds me of Ojodo, Pure Land, knowing that Dad has returned to the Pure Land, what we know as Alameda, Pure Land, the land of the West. And it's not like I see him some far away place, but rather he's now taken this form of Namo Amida Butsu. A second place, it's in our temple too, but another place that reminds me particularly of the Pure Land now is our columbarium, no kotsudo. We have an ash room, also as you enter the hondo, way in the far left corner, just behind the organ. But it's a room where many members of the temple have placed the remains of their loved ones, the ashes, and we have a altar, down in there. And so in 2010, my mother passed away, and the no kotsudo was a place for her and a number of other BWA Fujinkai members to go there on a weekly basis to clean and to dust, and to offer flowers to all of the members in our no kotsudo. So after she passed away, before she passed away, we had placed Dad in there, and she wanted to also be placed in there. So after she passed away, we placed her in the same niche as my dad. And so now, again, when I enter the temple, when I go to the no kotsudo, to the Butsudan, to put my hands together and Gassho and to offer Nenbutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, not only my mother, but I see all of the other wonderful members of the temple that have been interred there. And here, that room too reminds me of Ojodo, the Pure Land. Of course, our altars, like I say, this is the most important example of what we see as what the Pure Land is. And our onaijins of our Jodo Shinshu temple is beautiful, and it does remind us of the Pure Land. But for me, it is those two particular places that also have remind me strongly of what Ojodo is. not just our altars. We can think of our altars or the Pure Land, as Shinran Shonin notes in his writings, referring to it as the land of peace, the land of the vow, land of happiness, the land of enlightenment, or land of all-knowing wisdom, or the land of immeasurable light. We come to realize that it is that this land or realm that is through the working of, or the grasp of Amitabha's great wisdom and compassion. Right? Although my parents have passed away, their lives, their influence have continued to play an important part on my life. In my acknowledgement of this influence, and the influence of all people that have touched our lives, right? It becomes this grateful recitation of the Nembutsu Namo Amidabutsu. I've come to think that, our recitation of the Nembutsu Namo Amidabutsu, when we think of our loved ones, this only occurs, I think, maybe some of you recite Nembutsu Namo Amidabutsu toward your loved ones, but in particular when they pass away, when they return to the so-called Pure Land. More so, this idea of wanting to put our hands together and recite Nembutsu Namo Amidabutsu. This Nembutsu itself, it becomes such a natural recitation, right? But our recitation of this Nembutsu Namo Amidabutsu is not something, I feel, we're not doing this out of our own volition, our own energy. Rather, it's because of the working of their wisdom, their compassion, now working on us as Buddhas, who are able to put our hands together and say this true and sincere Nembutsu Namo Amidabutsu. So in other words, because they become Buddhas, now we're able to put our hands together and recite the name of the Buddha because of their working, because of their energy. Right? And so, although my parents, again, have passed away, their lives played this important influence on me. And this is, I think, the essence of Shinran Shonin's teachings, his thoughts, as he reminds us through the reading, the poem that I opened my talk with. On reaching the land of the vow, having passed away and returned to the Pure Land, on reaching the land of the vow, we immediately realize supreme nirvana. And thereupon we awaken great compassion. And this is called Amida's directing of virtue. So those that have returned to the Pure Land, they have really realized this supreme nirvana and have awakened within themselves this great compassion, this great wisdom. They become great wisdom, great compassion. And in so doing, their energy turns to us, and in turn we are able to put our hands together and recite Namo Amidabutsu Nembutsu. I look at this kind of as a strange phenomenon, because when I think about it, or when I look at the organ in our hondo, in our chapel at Oakland, or when I enter the Nokotsudo at our temple, for some reason there's an automatic or natural reaction to want to recite the Nembutsu Namo Amidabutsu. It's just an unconscious reaction to do so. And as we continue to listen to and hear the teachings of the Buddha and the teachings of Shinran Shonin, it becomes clearer and clearer that the Pure Land, this idea of the Pure Land, or Ojodo, that we hear and think about, is not some concrete place or form like Disneyland, or a place that we may be more familiar with in our daily lives. But I think it's a tendency of ours to want to think that this idea of the Pure Land is some far, far away place, detached from our everyday existence. Some have said they come up to us, maybe they come to Reverend Fujimoto too, but is it only when we die that we can experience the Pure Land? And I often reply to them that I don't think so. We can encounter the Pure Land here and now through our own individual life experiences. Right? For me, again, it's that temple organ in the hondo. It's the Nokotsudo where my mom is interred. as far as what the Pure Land means to me. But for each of you, you may have your own special place now that you can think about the Pure Land in this sense. Maybe you have your own special place or event or memory that brings about the thoughts of the Pure Land. You know, just entering the temple here, Buddhist Temple of Alameda, although this time I didn't because Jane caught me and I went to the hall to look at all of your sale items. But generally, you know, when I enter the Buddhist Temple of Alameda, I come up the first 5-6 steps in front here at the front entrance. And when I enter the Hondo and I see your Onaijin, the altar, for me it invokes this deep and unconscious reaction to want to recite the Nembutsu Nammo Amidabutsu. And I think this is because, you know, I recall when I enter your Hondo here, automatically I recall all of the wonderful people that I've known that have returned to the Pure Land of Ochodo. And so, having returned to this world of Higan, the other shore, the land of enlightenment, those that haven't played an important part in my life, again, it causes me to recite this unconscious recitation of the Buddha's name, Nammo Amidabutsu. And so, like Shinran Shonin says, on reaching the land of the vow, we immediately realize this supreme nirvana, and thereupon we awaken great compassion, and this is called Amida's directing of virtue. It is through these life experiences that we are able to meet with the true heart of Nammo Amidabutsu. And the Ohigan service is a special time of year, both in the spring and in the fall, for us to have this opportunity to turn our thoughts to the teachings of the Buddha and to hear the Dharma. So I think it becomes a point where it's not so much where is the Pure Land, but it becomes more of a question, what is the Pure Land? What is the Pure Land? Because when we say where is the Pure Land, then we want some concrete directions, as I gave, like going to Disneyland. But there is no words, I don't think, roadmap to tell you direction-wise, but we can contemplate on the Pure Land. We can look at the Pure Land as what is the Pure Land in the sense of, as Shinran Shonin says, those that have returned to the Pure Land return to us through great compassion and wisdom. And looking at it in that sense, I think this idea of Pure Land, this faraway land in the West, becomes something much closer to our hearts, right? And so, on this occasion of your Spring Ohigan, I'd like to thank you again for coming and gathering on this beautiful day. We're fortunate, as Sensei said, to be so close to one another, the Buddhist Temple of Alameda and our Oakland Temple. And as Sensei mentioned, you know, Reverend Dennis started his childhood in the temple at the Oakland Church way back when. And so, you know, I've known Sensei for, like he says, many years, but it is nice to have Sensei close by and to have your mom. Your mom's actually a member of our church. And here too, I guess she's a member of Alameda too, so both temples, but it's always nice to have Mrs. Fujimoto in attendance at the Oakland Temple too. So again, on this occasion of Ohigan, I'd like to thank all of you for coming and to just offer that idea of looking at the Pure Land not as where is the Pure Land, but what is the Pure Land. And in this way, I think we gain a deeper appreciation of this idea of Higan in our lives. So, in closing, I'd like to read the Gobunsho by Daniel Shonin, so you just please join me in Gassho. 上人一流のご関係の趣は信心のもって本当せられ候。そのゆえはもろもろの造業を投げ捨てて一心に乱に奇妙すれば 不可思議の眼力として仏の偏り往生は事情をせしめたも。そのくらいを一年発起入賞上始終とも釈し、その上の称名念仏った如来我が往生を定めたまいし、ご恩法人の念仏と心べきなり、あなかしこ、あなかしこ。What is taught in the tradition of Shinran Shonin is the entrusting heart is essential. For when we abandon various practices and take refuge in Amida with the singleness of heart, our birth in the Pure Land is settled by the Buddha through the inconceivable vow power. The state we thus attain is described as, with awakening of a single thought of entrusting, we join those who are in the stage of the truly settled. Recitation of the Nembutsu thereafter should be understood to be the Nembutsu as an expression of gratitude for the Tathagata's benevolence for settling our birth in the Pure Land. Humbly and respectfully, I read Naman notes, Naman notes, Naman notes, Naman notes, Naman notes, Naman notes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Endo. That was a pretty nice speech you had there. That reminds me of the Pure Land where you were talking about. I guess, thinking about it, the pine trees outside. My dad, I guess that was pride and joy, because he trimmed the pine trees, you know, and he used to always drag me, go, let's go. I picked up the needles and stuff, but yeah, when I come, I do look at the pine trees, and you know, I get back memories. Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Let's see. Our next gatha is Arigato, verse 1, Japanese and English, in the White Book. Page 36. Japanese now.
Yeah.
We need some practice there. Okay, once again, thank you, Reverend Michael Endo, for being our guest speaker for today. I'd like to thank Reverend Dennis Fujimoto for the YouTube setup. And thank you, Lenny, for being our organist, as usual. And who did the altar flowers today? Oh, Lenny and Jackie. Thank you very much. Flowers are beautiful every Sunday. Is there any newcomers today? Oh, would you like to stand up and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Dorothy Immaculate, and this is my grandfather's church at Cheryl's. So it was in the 1920s, before World War II, he would attend. So I'm pretty much Hawaii.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay. Let's see where we are. Okay, once again, thank you for coming for our Spring Ohigan service. We have announcements. Next Sunday, March 21st, no service, but we do have the Hidden Treasures sale, so make sure you come. And then Sunday, March 31st, no service. It's the 5th Sunday. Okay, and then Sunday, April 12th, it's our monthly memorial. Sorry, April 7th, it's our monthly memorial service. And ABWA meeting at 9 a.m. Is there any other announcements?
Hanamatsuri? April 14th. April 14th.
Okay, Hanamatsuri, April 14th. Make sure you come. The major service.
We have Otoki.
Oh yeah, we have Otoki also. Jane, why don't you just come up and say? So that concludes today's service. We have refreshments. It'll be outside. We have like coffee, tea, and cookies. Something simple, since we have the Hidden Treasure stuff out in the social hall. So once again, thank you very much.
It wasn't off in the beginning.